Hi everyone, happy Wednesday and welcome to Liza's Painting Parties. I'm Liza and I'm very happy to be painting with you all again this week. Welcome to anyone who hasn't stopped in before. What we are going to paint today is our version from this beautiful close-up photo of the succulent. This photo was taken by Michael Lyons, and we're going to be reproducing it with acrylic paint today, and we'll be taking our own spin on it. I have a couple of ideas of how I want to approach it, so I'm really excited to share that with you, and it'll be really quite fun. So before we get started, I'll go through a little bit about the process for anyone who hasn't joined before. So this is the 80-second paint party that we've done. And the way this works is every week on Saturday on the Painting Parties page, I put three options up on like around noon or so on Saturday. And everyone can vote on the one that they like best. And then the one that has the most votes by the following Tuesday at noon is the one that is declared the winner, and that's the one that I paint live on the Wednesday. So I haven't painted this before. This will be my first time going through it, and I'll be talking to you on how I would be approaching recreating this in paint. And so if you can join with me live, that's fantastic. If you can't join right now, but you really want to do this later or another time, the video is still going to be available after this session. So it will be available under the videos tab on the Liza's Painting Party site on the Facebook page, and it will be also on my YouTube channel, Liza's Painting Party, so you can watch it on either spot. Okay? So I'm going to give a little bit more time in case there's anyone else who'd like to join us for tonight's live session. But I'll run through the supply list as well so that if anyone who is jumping on, you can grab the things that you need so we can paint all together. So to paint this, as with all the painting parties, the supplies are pretty much the same each time. So I don't change that too much, although this one clearly has a lot of green in it. So I would suggest if you have a pre-mixed green that will be your friend for this session. Often when I do our sessions, I suggest if you just have your three primary colors and black and white, then you can create any color you want. When it's something like this that has a lot of one color, again, you can simply mix like the blue and the yellow together with different variations to get the different color variations as you so desire. However, when it's a big component like this, you might just want to jump in and grab like a pre-mixed green, and that works as well too, but it's really up to you. The paint I use is all dollar store paint, so it's just the basic crafters acrylic that I go with, but you can use anything you so desire. Acrylic paint is water-based, so I always have a couple of containers of water as well, just to make sure everything runs smoothly. I have a palette where I can pop my paint on and do some color mixing, although for anyone who's joined me in the past, I often do the mixing like directly on my canvas. I do suggest having at least three brushes, a large brush, a medium, and a fine. And the ones that I use, this is a number 10 filbert. This is a number 2, I think. Sometimes I use a 4 from a medium. And this is a number 4, but it's actually quite a fine tip. So really I just want something that I have good control with. It has a nice like grip on it. So I like that for my purposes. But really it's whatever you're comfortable with. And you can use more paintbrushes than this. I just think at least three varieties of sizes are always good to give you more flexibility. You may want to have a pencil on hand if you are the type of person who'd rather sketch things out before jumping into it. And the canvas that I'm using is a canvas board. It's 11 by 14, and I'm going to be doing it on the landscape orientation. Um, but again, you can take your own creative vibe from it, and you can do it however you so desire. So, but that will be my approach to that. And I also have paper towel as well. So those are like the supplies, and there's always a list as well in the comment section and also on the events page as well. So there. Hi Terry, I'm glad you're joining. Anyone who's jumping in, feel free to say hi. Let me know where you're tuning in from. It's always fun to see everyone jumping in from all over the place. I'm close to Toronto. I'm in Ajax, so I'm just outside of Toronto. I grew up in Toronto, and that's in Ontario, Canada, for anyone who's not familiar. And It is a beautiful day today, which is really nice. The weather has been really nice, so it's been good. Although the rainstorm last night was kind of crazy. I woke up to like flashes of lightning and like you could hear like thunder, and it was pretty intense. But it was nice to be at home. Awesome. Okay, cool. So we'll get started momentarily, and I'll walk you through my process on how we're going to recreate this. Again, all of the photos that I've been using since the beginning of July as my reference images are from Michael Lyon's photography. So he's a photographer based, also a Canadian photographer. He's based out of Burlington, Ontario. And you can check out his website, the links in the comments as well. So you can see other photos that he's taken. And if you are looking for a photographer, he's a great person to work with and he has a great eye. So definitely check him out. And we use this with permission from him, which is very appreciated. Hi, Jody. I'm glad you're joining. Hope you're feeling good. Awesome. So yeah, we'll get started in a little bit. Yes. So let's talk a little bit about how we should approach the painting. And also, when I start painting, I'll move the camera as well so you can see my canvas more clearly. I will have the iPad available with the image throughout the process. However, I do suggest, because my lighting setup is interesting and sometimes we get, obviously, like you can see there's some, there we go. I get some nice reflections happening with the lamps that are surrounding me. I do suggest grabbing the inspiration image from like yesterday's winning post and just using that as your reference as we go through the process, just so that you have more of a clearer shot than what you see on here. I find that that is a little bit easier in that sense, but you can approach it however you so desire. So with this painting, I'm really excited to do, because often in many of our paintings we've done in the past, we do lots of landscape, lots of like nice, like bright, or full background images of skies and water or trees or whatnot. And this is really bringing us super close and detailed to like capture the succulent. So we can go a couple different routes here. You can go and try to make it as like realistic as possible and really try to capture it to make it seem like a very realistic image. You can go more of like a cartoony route. You can really do anything you so desire, so don't be limited by one thing or another. And just because, for example, like this is blue, you might want to make it red, or you might want to make it pink. Like you can change things up however you so desire, so don't let the original image be the main influence. However, this is always good practice to see where the light is hitting and being able to mimic it in that way. So when I look at this, I notice a few things. So I notice, number one, the background here is blurry and that's not what's in focus. So I definitely want to keep that happening. It's also a neutral color that's kind of like, we don't really care too much, but there is an interesting texture happening, and the texture of it, I think, does complement the rest of the picture well, because there's a nice contrast to it. Like this background kind of has this like material almost feel to it, where this is clearly a very solid, heavy, almost cold line, and then you have the warmth and the nature of the actual succulent. So I think it's really cool to see what resonates whenever we're using an inspiration image and try to capture that in your painting, and don't change that. But in terms of like what colors or how you want it to be, that's totally up to you. The other thing I like to look at as well when I'm looking at it, I like to see where the shadows are, where the highlights are, and I try to think about how I want to replicate that as well. So what I noticed right away with the actual succulent, basically there's like a very light outline around every single like leaf. I don't know if that's the right word, petal, leaf. um, I'm going to say leaf, even though that might not be the right term. But every single one is defined clearly with like a lighter highlight around the entire piece, which is really cool. And then it's interesting because in some you do see there's like a shadow because it kind of curves in. So that's something else I'm noticing that I want to be able to capture as well. So I'm just keeping that in mind as I go. The other thing I noticed too is the actual this rim of this pot that it's in. So there's a few things. So first of all, obviously like the paint of the pot has some nice texture to it. But again, there's like some clear defining lines that do separate it from the actual inside of the pot, the outside. So I'm looking at that too. So I want to make sure I get that as well. So with all of that being said, there's a couple of approaches that we can take when we start to plan it out on our canvas. So if you like, feel free to grab a pencil and then you can start sketching kind of where you want certain elements. I may or may not do it. Like sometimes I do find that helps when I'm trying to create a line that kind of like makes sense. But because it's so close, I don't think that matters all that much. I think I might just jump in and start painting the background where I want that background to live and then go from there. So I think that's what I'm going to do to start. Also, if you are enjoying these parties, these are all free. So, like I said, you can watch them on YouTube. There's tons of them, over 80 of them on YouTube and also on my Facebook page. If you would like, you can leave me a tip to buy me a coffee, and there's a link as well in the comments there, and you can do that if you want to. If you would like to host your own party, feel free to reach out to me, and then we can set up some kind of get together or gathering with your friends and family. You can do it virtually, or if you're in and around the Toronto area, again, as long as all the things around us stay the way they are, we can do some in-person sessions as well. So definitely you can reach out if you have any questions or would like to arrange any types of virtual or in-person parties if you're in the Toronto or surrounding areas. All right, cool. So let's get started. I'm going to move this. Oh, you still have surgery. Surgery quite soon, but hopefully. Oh, yeah, hopefully so, Jody. I hope you'll recover quickly and join in. Your paintings are always nice to see. Everyone's has such good vibes, and I love seeing everyone's paintings. So everyone has such a different approach to things, and that's what I love about it. Because just because I see certain things in it, someone else will come up and they'll approach it from a different way, or add like maybe one small element that just like makes things pop, and I love that. So that's what I love about doing these. It makes it so much fun that way. Okay, so I think we're gonna do it that way. Yeah, for now. No, I need it to be more like that, maybe. All right. There we go. Cool. Let's try that out. Okay. So to start, I want to start with this blurry background that kind of has this like texture kind of image to it, and I don't want to spend a heck of a lot of time on it. I do, overall, it gives me this impression of kind of like this grayish, brownish kind of vibe. I know there's like some nice like dotted elements to it, which it would be kind of fun to recreate as well. So I think I want to start with that. So I'm going to put a little bit of black on my palette. Oh yeah, definitely sketch it, Jody. That's a great idea. I was actually playing a lot on my iPad. I have an app called Procreate, if anyone's used it. It's pretty cool. Um, and I've been playing around a little bit and coming up with like future painting concepts on there. And I'm kind of in love with the um, just the interface and being able to like manipulate things so easily. And it's great just for like ideation. It's been quite enjoyable. So I'd strongly suggest that if anyone has an iPad. I think it is only an Apple product, which I'm not usually a big Apple person, but in this situation I am. Okay, so I want to get this background to be pretty much like all in this area here. So I'm just gonna like eyeball it. I'm gonna go a little bit further than what I would expect to go with that curve happening. And so I'm gonna start, I guess we kind of could put like some lines in, I suppose. I don't know. No, I just want to play with it. Okay. Getting black and white, and I'm just making a bit of a gray on my palette. I'm going to throw in a little bit of brown in it just to like muck up the color a little bit. Okay. I just want to get some paint on here. So, kind of I'm just going to get this on here and then I'm going to play a little bit with it. It's going to be pretty much solidly one color. Oh, I don't really want to go that black though, do I? It does go all the way to the bottom. Yeah, kind of. Oh, it does get cut off. Okay, try to make sure you get your sides too as you're doing this process, especially if you're using an actual canvas versus a canvas board. Even if using a canvas board, I do like to get the sides on it too. Okay, is that as far as I want to go? It looks about it. Okay. So that's just like a solid gray line. It's not as... Hi, Natalie. No, I didn't decide to wet the canvas this time. I tend to do that a lot when I'm doing a lot of blending, but when I'm doing this, which is pretty much going to be a solid background, I don't really need it to be wet for a long period of time. It's like solid and it's also a small amount of space on the canvas. When it's a larger amount that it might take more time for me to get to, that's when I usually wet it. So in this situation, I just decided that it wasn't really necessary, but you can absolutely do that depending on your preference. Okay, so I'm just going to clean up that brush. I want to go in with, because I do want to, because there's some cool little like blurry like white lines, like dots almost, that I want to see if I can kind of get, but I don't want to make it that noticeable. So I'm putting some white on my brush. I don't know if this is going to turn out the way I want it. I feel like it's going to look kind of weird, but we're just going to play and see what happens. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of stamp in white. It's not working. It's not bad. And it's kind of... just kind of following what I see-ish. Just putting in a few little... And everything's still quite wet, so like it keeps picking up the gray paint too, and it's kind of making it feel blurry. Little dots happening. They're not really as like angular as the other ones, but okay, let me see. I kind of want to soften it a little bit, so it looks a little bit too powder. So I'm just gonna go over now. I just kind of clean off my brush, and I'm just going to like muck up some of the lines that I made, but just to make it look blurry. Put some black on there. That's exactly what I want. in here. I'm just going to do the same thing with the spots that new spots I created. I'm noticing a bit that these ones don't look very noticeable at the bottom. I'll put more in there. Okay, so just to get that kind of weird pattern happening, I just have like little dots along the side, and it looks not very exciting. But that's how I've done it so far. Mine are a little bit more straight, I guess, than these have a bit of an angular, like kind of goes upwards. I didn't really do that, but I think it's working just fine. Okay, so we have this lip, which I do want to put in. So I'm going to do that. And then we have the background that we want to put in as well. So I don't know if I want to do that with a pencil first. I kind of do. Sometimes what I do is if I don't use a pencil first, then I end up making it larger than what I want it to be after, and it's harder as a guide. So I think I'm going to do that just to kind of see. So I'm going to look at where this curve is, and it's very tight, almost at the edge at the bottom here, and it goes up gradually, and it comes to about, if I look at this canvas and I say, okay, that's like about the middle, it's almost like 1/4, eh? That's like the middle. It's almost like here. That's where it ends up. Okay. More or less. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so I think I'm going to go with that there. So it's very blue, but I think I'm going to put it in with white, I think, to start. So I want my blue to pop, but I don't know. Maybe that blue will actually come out okay. I'll put the blue on my canvas too. Okay, so I'm gonna use my medium brush, I think, to start with this process. So I'm just going over my line that I just did with my pencil. I think I need to put it down for a moment. Okay, so I'm just going over that line. This line's pretty thick, which is good. It comes almost to about here or so. I'm just going to put this in, but we might have to touch this up when we do many other components, like the background here. I'm going to try to keep it about the same thickness throughout this process. Again, I need just to go down again. So I just have the line there for the blue. Okay, so I'm going to just fill it in as a placeholder with this very light blue that I've made. But definitely I'm going to go over this and I want to play with the colors. I don't know if I'm going to do that just yet though. A little torn with like the black area, like back here, like the behind where the succulent lives. So I think I'm going to actually do the succulent first, like place it out, and then I'm going to do the black, which I normally would always do whatever's in the background first. So it might be a little bit different, but I think I want to do that just so I only use black in certain areas, because it can be hard to um, have good consistency if there's only like a section of it or a piece of it has the black on it. Like the black will come through quite a bit. So I think I want to just paint only what I need to paint in black. So I'll do that after this. I think I'm going to put in where I want the succulent to live, and I'm probably going to do that in pencil as well. I wasn't really going to, but maybe I will play with a bit with the blue right now. Kind of digging it. So I'm going to put a little bit of darker lines here. Everything's still wet, so I'm just going to play a little bit with putting and blending this, because it's all wet on wet paint. Just darkening it up a little bit. So I'm just going with the light blue that I had. I'm going with white, and I'm going with the darker blue, and I'm just kind of playing a bit just to get a couple different shades happening here. But I still want it to feel really painterly, so I want it to have kind of this vibe. I don't know if I want it to be like stippled. I might put a little bit of dots or something in there after, I'm not sure. But I think for now, just have it in like kind of a different color happening. Ooh, everything's so dark. Shoot. So that's what I'm doing in terms of the blending with the blue. That's how it looks for now. It just has like some interesting texture and variety. And I'm not doing the highlight just yet. I'm going to wait till it dries so I can really make that more defined. And this is kind of like a yellow, but it's almost like a green. Like it has a bit of a, a green tinge to it. I'm not sure if that's going to be captured as nicely as I want it to be, but we'll try. We'll see what we can do. Okay, so okay. About the same, more or less. Okay, so I want to start placing where I want the succulent to be. And I'm not sure exactly where to start. This part here really calls out to me. It's kind of like right in the middle. And it's quite large. And that's where my eye goes first. So I think I want to place that. So let's do it, I guess. So where do I want that to go? Okay, so I look at it here. This point here is a bit higher than midway point on our canvas. It's pretty close to this edge here. So if the midpoint is about here, it's a bit higher. So it's about like, that point is probably about like here, more or less. So I think I'm just going to come up and then come down like that. Okay, and then the other one here, I don't know if it's big enough. Like I feel like that's not big enough. No, I don't know. I think it has to be bigger, like that. But you're relying on that black paint to make it look good. I think it kind of has to be like large like that. And then we have that leaf here. I'm calling them leaves. That's what I'm doing. Okay, and then this comes down. And it kind of gives a point a bit. Oh man, it's so big. It's scaring me. It's scaring me. Okay. And then the other one here, it comes. Again, I'm going to go for it, and then hopefully it turns out good. Maybe I just started that one too low, eh? Maybe that was the issue. I'm feeling like I don't have enough space, but I guess I can change that up. Yeah, this one I just feel like it's really large. I feel like it should kind of come like here. And then maybe there's like Hi, Rula. Oof. I'm not digging it. Like, this one is not, oh, that one's there. That one is that big one. And then we have another one. Here. Difficult to see what's going on there, isn't it? And I feel like that's much higher up than what I would want it to be. So I have to improvise a bit. Yeah, that one has to come up. Oops. That is like that one. Okay, that's what I'm going with. Not so sure how it's all going to turn out, but we're going to go with it and see what happens. I want to be, I think, like that. Okay, so I think I'm going to go with that, and then we'll play with those. That is the plan. Okay. then this one here, it kind of comes out and then it kind of comes down. You see that? I don't know, I don't think so. I think I'm gonna go like here. And I want to put up here, I think. So I want this to be black. So all of this is black. Okay, that's where I want it to go. Okay. I don't want to do the black right off the hop, like kind of, but I also don't think that's, I kind of want to put the black in. No, we want to put the green in. We're doing the green. Okay, let's do the green first. Matrix green. I have one that's called Hunter Green. It's pretty dark. I think I want to use that, and then I want to get my yellow. So I'm going to use my yellow a bit to lighten it. I also have some white that I can use. I have some black. Okay, perfect. Okay, and that other green is almost out. Okay, let's pick a petal, a leaf, a petal, and we're going to start. So I'm going to start with this. So I'm just going to fill this all in with this green. I'm gonna have to wait till it's dry before I do anything else with it. Do I want to do all of it green? So I'll still be able to see the pencil lines. Maybe I will, and then we'll get the different colors after. I'll get the shadow and the, you know what, I think I will do that. Yes, let's color block it. Everywhere that we got the succulent, we will, I guess it depends on your paint. This green that I have is quite thin, so I can still see my pencil lines under it. So I am going to paint everything in green that I want. I wasn't going to at first. I was going to do each thing and then go, but I think I'm just going to paint it all green first. And more green. Green as well. Okay, so now we just got a nice, all the green is green. And the sides and the top and the bottom. Okay, that's the green area. I think I'm going to do the black background, and then I'm going to go back and I'll play with all of the detailing. That, I think, is my plan. Okay, get black. I'm probably going to use a little bit of water in my black, just so that it's a little smoother. Sometimes the paint is not so smooth, and it doesn't give you like a nice clean line. I don't want it to be watered down too much, or else it won't be opaque. And I want it to be nice and dark.
Okay, let's just fill in all this area here.
Okay. Cool. All right, so now everything has paint on it. Da, da, da. Cool. And now we have detailing to do on this room here, and we also have, obviously, the whole succulent has to be detailed. Okay, let's have a little bit of coffee. Or whatever it is that you are enjoying. Okay, I'm going to, I think, play a little bit with this first because this is still a little wet and I want it to dry off a little bit more. So I'm going to start with a little bit of white, I think. And I want the white to have a little bit of water. I'm using my thin brush. And there is a little bit of a highlight on here. Put that there. And starts off a little bit white here. But then it goes into that kind of like greeny kind of color. Let's play with that and see how that comes out. Just on this edge. Needs to be lighter, that's for sure. Okay, so there's a slight highlight on there, and then there's kind of this other highlight on that side. And it goes kind of all the way down realistically. Okay, so I have a bit of a bit there, but it gets a little bit darker as it comes down to the bottom.
see that there is slightly darker just on the outside of this highlight in some spots. Like that. And then there's some more on this side too. And I do want to put in this, definitely more speckled. So I'm just going to put like little speckly dots in like a darker blue. Kind of get some of the texture of this. So I'm just putting like slight little dabs of this blue just to get that texture that I can try to emulate from the photograph onto here. Okay, and then I want to get it a little bit, some parts are a little bit darker, so I want to just get a little bit darker, put a little bit more black into it, and then just hit up some of the spots to get some of these dabs in and make them a little bit darker. Okay, so let's see if you can see that. So I just put a little bit of speckles happening along the rim. Okay, and I kind of want to do with white too. And I'm putting white along this like yellowy green line that I had put before. I'm seeing a little bit from there, and I think I'm going to add a little bit on this one too. Not too much though, I don't think. So I'll put a few in white just to kind of, I'm digging it, and I think it's looking kind of good like that. Okay. Okay, and then just want to get a little bit of darkness in some spots. Alright, so I think I'm going to stop playing with that, because that I feel like I'm going to keep going and going and going. Alright. Where are we at? 7:03, not too shabby. Alright, so I think I want to put in like the highlight to start putting in on. It's probably not the thing I should start with, but I'm going to do it because I want to. I'm going to go with my yellow. It's almost like white though. Just going to make it a bit lighter. Okay. Well, that's light enough. Okay, sorry, I'm just making it a little bit lighter. Okay. Keep putting these highlights on. And then we have this one here. Oh, I feel like this needs to be a little thicker. Okay. Okay. So the outlining is taking a little bit of time. Okay. Not bad. So it's highlighted. Okay, so now how do we want the rest of it to go? Okay, so let's pick one and let's play with it. So like I'm looking at some of these here. So like down here, I'm looking and there's quite a bit of, it's quite dark. In most of this leaf. And it's like slightly, and then it has a really bright border. Same with this one here. It has the same kind of vibe to it. So all in here is quite dark. This one comes all the way up to like almost the edge, really. And then it gets a little bit lighter, like slightly lighter. Okay. So all of these are quite dark. So like this one's quite dark as well. There's a lot of darkness going on. Actually, there isn't a lot of definition between one and the other, except for like slight glimpses. So I'm just gonna take away some of the highlights that I had already put in. These are still quite dark as well. Here, it's much darker too. This one has some here, but then it gets a little bit, oh no, just too much water on my brush. It's okay. Here. Starting to get a little bit lighter on this one. Okay. All right, let's just keep playing a little bit with these leaves. So this is pretty dark. It's almost darker than that, to be honest. It's like, is that the right one? No, I'm kind of playing with another one. That's fine. Okay. Okay. Oh, thank you, Jody. Pencils are hard. Anytime with coloring pencils, I find it very tricky. It's very fun. It can be fun, but it can be very challenging. Okay, so in here, I'm noticing that it's actually quite more darker. Ooh, darker than that side. I don't know. I feel like I need to put a little more darkness on this side, don't I? Yikes. I know it's scary. I think there is, it's more black. So I'm just going to throw it in and see what happens. This one here. And here, there's some more black. This one. Yeah, that's more where I want to go. Okay. This one too is kind of like down and then it kind of comes up. This is pretty dark too. And here too, I gotta say. Wow. Oh, well, that's not going a little bit loosey-goosey with my brush strokes, so I'll have to go back and like do some more definitions later, clearly. Ooh. Awesome. Okay. That looks a little bit off. Maybe a little bit darker here, I think. Okay, let's get this a little bit softer. Okay. Ah, put paint on my pants. Not so good. Okay. Still want to put more black in this area here. Okay. Okay. And then add more of that green. More black too. Okay, and then just keep rolling along, getting all the other ones lines going. Okay, so I think I want to go over my lines again, like just to emphasize them. It's definitely messed them up when I went through and did those, so. Okay. I feel like I'm almost done with this. Where do I want to go? I want to get a good highlight color happening. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. It's a little like cartoony, but it has the vibe. I'm digging the highlight. I do like that it still has the same kind of feeling to it, but definitely has like a painterly vibe to it. And I do like the saga line around there. I think it looks good. Oh, I missed one actually. Up here. Got one in there too. Okay, there we go. I think I'm gonna call this complete for tonight. I know I didn't keep that one going, but you know what? I think I do want to. I had it stop, but I think I do want it to. I feel like it just looks strange without it. I'm gonna keep that like that. Awesome. Okay. There we go. There's my completed painting of Succulent from the inspiration photo. So I really dig many aspects of it, and some of it feels a little bit wonky. Like maybe this could have been more, maybe it should have been more like down that way or something. I don't know. I feel like there's some things that are a bit wonky. But overall, it was a really cool challenge to do since this is one of those things that's definitely out of my comfort zone. So I'm happy that we did this one. This one was chosen this week. So I hope everyone had a good time who painted along. And if you're joining on a different date, please feel free to share your completed painting, snap a picture of it, and share it in the group. It's always awesome to see what you've painted or what you've created. Thank you all for joining me tonight. And actually, on Saturday, I will not have three options this week. Next week, I'll be taking a break. So you'll be able to watch another video or something that maybe in the past that you have missed. And then I'll be back the week after with more options and another live painting session. All right, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day and take care. Bye. Have a good week, everyone.